Hello, my friends. So I was sharing about the SMART method the other day, the somatic myofascial active release therapy. I'd like to kind of dive into each one of those aspects a little bit more. And so first, starting with the somatic part, that we are psychosomatic beings, which means we are a combination of mind and body, of psyche and soma. And the more we can understand the interplay of these two, the more we can have a grounded perspective in life. And if we're like anything else, the body is always attempting to achieve homeostasis. And so if we're always in our psyche, we become psycho. If we're always in our soma, then we're unable to practice cognition, or we become emotionally volatile, and so there's a middle ground of optimal range, just like our salt intake, just like our water consumption, just like exercise, protein, every other aspect of our being is no different. Homeostasis. So, so with the somatic aspect, we start by focusing on the breath. With the breath, we understand that it's an unconscious action. We do it without thinking about it. Just like every other regulatory process in the body, it's autonomic. Happens without us even thinking about it. Imagine if you had to walk through your day saying, okay, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. It'd be very tough to do anything else. So it's on an automatic system. One of the most beautiful parts about why we focus on breath, and if you've ever dove into any sort of therapeutic practice, trauma therapy, any sort of thing, we focus a lot on the breath. Why? I want to share a particular understanding. So understand how we can go weeks, even months without food. And we go days without water. We can only go a few moments without breath. A few moments and we're done. And so how interesting is it? How utterly fascinating is it that this one system that we can go the least amount of time without is also the one system that we have conscious ability to manage and manipulate. That we can speed it up. We can slow it down. We can pause it altogether. And we can't do that with digestion or kidney filtration or heart rate. You can't think to your stomach, digest faster, digest slower. But we can with the breath. So what does this mean? This speaks to the power of the breath, why it's so vital as a focus, as a tool. And because through the breath, we're able to consciously connect our thinking mind to our unconscious, to our autonomic aspects of our being. And so the breath, is the cross bridge between the two. It's the middleman. It's the operating system. And so through the breath, we're able to engage with these otherwise unengageable systems. And through the breath, we're able to mitigate our heart rate. We're able to affect kidney filtration, digestion, etc. It's a very powerful tool. We have It's a very powerful tool we have with us every moment of every day. And most of us don't know how to use it. And so this is why the somatic aspect is so important, because as we connect the mind to the body through the breath, we start shifting gears inside. And this is where a lot of ancient practices come to the forefront of modern therapeutics. That there's ancient systems of yoga, Kundalini, or just other branches of yoga. The eightfold limbs of yoga, there is the pranayama, which is breath regulation. In modern language, these are ancient nervous system regulation practices. So if we're in the morning feeling a little slow and sluggish, we can invite in a little breath of fire to stimulate, to cultivate charge, to cultivate arousal. It stimulates us. If we are attempting to, calm down, we can elongate the breaths. We can increase the count, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6, etc. These tools, are ways in which we allow ourselves to become regulated. And a regulated state is nothing more than union between the mind and the body. This is the premise of yoga. Union. It means union for a reason. Union of mind and body. Emotions are a combination of mind and body. So these practices, they have this common theme and they are powerful. And if you want to dive into all the stories and backgrounds related to all of them, that's fine. But for me, the power comes in the ability to connect with yourself and to be your organic self walking around on a daily basis. For me, that's what matters above all. How can we just simply walk in the world in a grounded state? And these practices are wonderful for doing that. That's why I include them in my sessions. We bring the breath into our sessions so that the nervous system can participate and engage and release any particular patterns. It gets the mind and body working, because these patterns in our body are, let's say, a result of the mind, but the interplay of the mind and body. For example, if you've ever learned, this is for my older folks, if you've ever learned to drive a stick shift, you understand that initially there was a lot of thinking. There was a lot of conscious effort to shift, clutch, turn, look around, a lot of stuff going on. You pretty much were focusing just on that. But after a while, it got put on autopilot. It got put on unconscious to where you could do that. You could talk to people, you could do other stuff. You could do multiple things because now you're not solely focused on just the shifting, clutching, driving. It got put on autopilot. And this is how the brain operates. This is how we operate. We put as many things on autopilot as we can so that we can focus on other stuff, which is fine. It's very functional. But the problem is that over lifetime, we develop particular habits, particular patterns, and until they become a problem, the mind is still thinking that pattern's fine. So just like with the stick shift, that's perfectly fine when you're in a manual car. But the moment you get into an automatic car, buy a new car, happy. Driving down the road, and what happens? You go to reach for the clutch, you go to reach for the shifter. It's not there. Now this habit is problematic. This is when the mind comes back in and says, oh, we got to learn something new. Let's pay attention. Let's relearn. And it does. It relearns through the power of neuroplasticity. So the work in therapeutic processes is the same. That until this unconscious pattern gets recognized as problematic, the mind doesn't even give it any attention. So when we're doing body work, a lot of times we'll notice tension in areas where we weren't aware of it. There's certain areas we're aware of, certain areas I have no idea, completely under the radar, until we start paying attention to it. And the mind starts saying, oh, well, this pattern's not working anymore. We got to do something about this. Let's relearn. We engage the mind and the body, and the nervous system all comes together, and we relearn a new pattern. Again, this is physical body, this is emotional body. This pattern is the same. So through the breath, we're able to link these systems together. So this is why the breath is so powerful. We'll take a little moment to just do one. A lot of times people have trapped tension. upper trap tension. All right. If you want to participate with, you're more than welcome to. If not, that's fine. Just watch. So we'll close our eyes. And just observing the inhale, observing the exhale. And we do this through experiencing the inhale and exhale. So as we close our eyes, we start to connect with the experience of breath. We notice, the inhale, whether we're breathing in our upper chest, our belly, our shoulders, it doesn't matter. Just notice what you notice. And now what we'll do is we'll keep this breath flowing. We'll start to bring a little more conscious awareness into the breath, a steady inhale, steady exhale. And on the inhale, we'll invite the shoulders to rise up towards the ears. So we'll inhale, shoulders rise. We're not pinching or hurting, we're just inviting the shoulders to rise. And then that exhale, we allow them to fall at the same pace. Inhaling, shoulders rise. Exhaling, shoulders dropping. We're not letting the shoulders round forward. We're just simply inviting the shoulders straight up, almost more so towards the back of the head than the front. A lot of times we have a tendency to round forward. So we're just rising on the inhale, lowering on the exhale. And as we rise, and particularly as we allow the shoulders to lower, we watch, we pay attention for any sort of resistance, any sort of twitching or fluttering or shaking or attempt for the shoulders to do some other movement, forward, backwards, stutter as it goes through a particular movement. So inhaling, rise, exhaling, falling away. And we're not forcing any sort of range of motion. We're just moving through the range that we have, allowing the breath and movement to be linked. Inhaling, rise. Exhaling, falling away. And keep this going if you like. Congratulations, we just practiced inviting the somatic movement of inviting the breath to guide the movements of our body and bring the mind into the awareness of it. So maybe we noticed whatever we noticed. Maybe we noticed tension, twitching, shaking, pinching, pain, whatever, temperature change. You might notice rigidity or resistance, all the things. All of them are the right answer. The point is that we're noticing, that we're curiously connecting with the experience with the body. And this is powerful. We'll do one more, and then we'll wrap this up. So maybe we want to discharge a little excessive stress in the traps. Again, focusing just on the traps. Again, if you have injuries, surgeries, whatever, be mindful. Connect with your physician before performing these practices. But we're going to again invite the shoulders up, and this time we're going to allow them to fall away, a little bit more forceful, a little bit more exertive. So we inhale, rise. Exhale, force it out, fall away. We're going to keep this going, inhaling, rising, exhaling, falling away. Maybe even invite anything that maybe we're holding on to throughout the day and inviting it to fall away as the shoulders drop. Inhaling, rise, exhaling, falling away. One more. Now, if we're still feeling like we still have some rigidity, some resistance in there, we can invite a more vibrational, a more frequency-based practice. We can allow our shoulders to bounce, allow them to Much like they're on a train, just allowing the shoulders to, bounce freely, keeping the breath flowing. Trying to release any sort of control over the shoulders that we might notice. Like I noticed my right shoulder attempting to roll forward. And just notice how you feel. And there's no right or wrong. There's no expectation to feel powerful or enlightened. Just notice how you feel. How your body feels, how your mind feels. So yes, the breath is the most powerful tool that you have. I encourage you to use it, to practice it, to dive into it. I'll be sharing more practices like this, but going to any Kundalini yoga class, going to any yoga class, any sort of breath work, pranayama event, anything that involves breath, connect with it. Find what works for you. Take your power back. Stay grounded, my friends.